Under President Trump's leadership, we are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day. And President Trump is going to keep pushing to get that number up higher each and every single day so we can get all of the Biden illegals that were flooded into our country for 4 years out of our country.
Okay, so bare minimum 3,000 per day, and Trump is gonna be pushing for higher and higher. That's nothing. We gotta get these Biden illegals that are flooding. Again, like he's a racist little goblin, okay? It doesn't take extra effort for him to dehumanize people, but it's important for you never to think of these as people, certainly never to think of them as the innocent people they are, many of whom have their documentation totally in order. No. They're Biden illegals, the worst of the worst, some other slogan that will make you comfortable with the disgusting policy that's being pursued. And it is disgusting, but let's be clear, the numbers are not working out the way he said. The math is not mathing. They're not meeting 3,000. In fact, they're deporting fewer people than they were, and there's a number of good reasons for that. And so it is sort of good news, I suppose, but they're certainly not going to admit that. Now, they're pretending that Stephen Miller never said what he said, what you just saw him say. So this is according to a Justice Department attorney, said, DHS has confirmed that neither ICE leadership nor its field offices have been directed to meet any numerical quota or target for arrests, okay? And one of the reasons that a Justice Department attorney might wanna say that to the Court of Appeals is, if you are pretending that there is an emergency that demands mass deportation, and then you just come up with a quota, it doesn't really seem like there's an emergency. It seems like, no, we wanna hit these numbers or whatever. It's not like we have to do whatever we can under difficult circumstances in an emergency. It seems like, nah, I just wanna get them or whatever. But again, they're having a lot of trouble with that. DOJ attorney Yakov Roth attributed the quota claim to anonymous reports in the newspapers, which I guess is the video we just showed you. That was an anonymous report on a newspaper. But anyway, yeah, no, they've all said that it's gonna be 3,000. In fact, Tom Homan was quoted by libs of TikTok, hardly a newspaper, saying that 3,000 per day, deportations per day is not enough. We have to arrest 7,000 every day. 1 billion migrants a day is what we need. They're just competing with each other to seem more xenophobic. It's a fun little game for them, but they're not actually able to do that. And you might wonder why that is. Well, there's a couple reasons. So first of all, their policy has been wildly unpopular, okay? Donald Trump on his marquee issue, I mean, I know that he's underwater on every policy, but even on immigration, that's the thing where the American people who have been trained for decades to despise people that are different than them, and unfortunately too many do that, but they have been trained to do that, they might be inclined to support Donald Trump. And still, they seem to be in favor of some sort of harsher immigration policy than we already have, but they don't like the one they're seeing from Donald Trump. They in particular do not like the constant reminders that the people that are being deported are not the worst of the worst. They're in fact innocent. And then they see things like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, where what's being done, you can't even see justice from the position the Trump administration is sitting in. They don't like those sorts of stories being so closely tied to America and its reputation around the world. That the gay barber that Fox was so dismissive of, who's now revealing that he was repeatedly sexually assaulted after being deported. All of this makes rational, compassionate Americans sick to their stomach. So that's one reason. They especially, by the way, they don't like seeing soldiers on horseback rampaging through parks as kids try to play. All of this is wildly unpopular. And so that's one reason they've had to scale it back. These clashes between the people of cities and masked, anonymous, unaccountable ICE trying to battle them, that's also not popular for the administration. So that's kind of hurting them. But besides that, I would also say one reason is there's not 3,000 deserving migrants to be rounded up on a daily basis. There certainly isn't more and more. There certainly isn't 7,000. It just was never based on anything. These claims that America has in fact been flooded and is up to its neck in migrants that are breaking the law. We said before the election, that was a lie. It was a knowing lie. It was just a thing they campaigned on. And then they caught up to the car they were chasing And now they have to deliver. But the thing is, there are not 3,000 cannibals. There are not 3,000 killers. There are not 3,000 rapists or anything like that. America is not actually plagued by this sort of crime, whether by migrants or by native-born Americans. We just are not that violent and crime-ridden a country, despite what Fox and Donald Trump would have you believe. And so that, I think, is the single biggest reason that they're having trouble with this. Now, there is one additional one. It is that every day they go back and forth between, we got to get rid of everybody a shade darker than like Colin Quinn or whatever, to, oh, actually, a lot of these people work for like corporations that are donors run, like in hospitality and the farm industry and all that and construction. So maybe we shouldn't actually round them up. But then Stephen Miller will come in and be like, oh, one of them stole my girlfriend in high school. And then they'll start rounding people up again. And then the donors push back. And so switching back and forth between that doesn't make it easy to have a nationwide immigration policy. And so I think that's also causing problems for them. In any event, I think it is good news that they're not reaching these numbers. It is good news to know that we live in a country that is not plagued by this sort of terror that they would have you believe. All of that is good. The issue is they are still out there in the streets. They are still being funded to the tune of like over $100 billion. They have that money. And if they're not spending that money rounding up undocumented migrants, what are they going to be spending that money on? I think that's a very important question going forward. When you give to ICE and Border Patrol more funding than, again, as I always say, most of the world's militaries, they're gonna spend it on something. Okay, and the lies that were used to justify the funding aren't a good use for the money. So again, what are they gonna use it for? What are these people that are effectively going to be a sort of hand-picked, hastily thrown together group of the most devoted like Trump fans that have been given unlimited funding? What are they going to be doing day to day? I don't like any of the potential answers to that question, but we're gonna find out. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here, so thank you in advance for joining.